Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. It has been an absolutely unbelievable day for all football fans all around the world. My name is Abdi, and I've got here with me an expert of panels, just people who know everything about football here, and it's just been crazy for us this weekend. Like so much has happened. With me, first of all, is yours truly, Trey. As always, welcome to the show, mate.
Yes, it's obviously good to be in the show. You know what? It's been
Yeah.
a strange 48 hours. I'm just buzzing right now. Buzzing.
Yeah, let me introduce Nathan Best again. You know, the guy enjoyed our show so much that he decided to join us again.
Football, eh? Bloody hell.
Football
Mad.
bloody hell, man. I know. And guys, here I've got with me Coach Culture from Three in Midfield podcast. It's been an absolute it's a pleasure to have you on the show, mate. Welcome.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, brother. And of all days, we didn't see this coming. But today's a beautiful day. Today's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful day.
Yeah.
We got four beautiful men standing on the screen right now, looking
Yes,
wonderful, glistening. Hey, let's begin, brother. Let's begin. I'm here.
yes. Good
Yes.
to have you
Yes,
on.
yes.
Good to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone that's watching online, just hit the like button, subscribe, and because we're gonna be here for a while now. Like this show, you know what? Let me give you a bit of timeline here. Yeah, this was actually supposed to be only about Mourinho. That's it. This show today, I booked it only for Mourinho to talk about Jose Mourinho and to look forward to the League Cup final that's to come on the weekend. And I actually came across a debate that Kojo was having with someone, and it was actually quite civilized the debate, and that's not a lot of the times that you see on Twitter. So when I saw that debate, I actually got involved and I said like, yeah, Mourinho is this. I started sharing my opinions about it, and I just said to Kojo, listen, like I'm hosting a debate next week about Mourinho. Would you like to come on our show? And he just said, yeah, absolutely, he's down for it. So then, like few days after, the Super League happens, and then I'm like, you know what? Oh man, this next show we've got to talk about the Super League because this is an ever-changing situation, and I wanted to get your insights, Trey and Kocho, and then few hours now we're hearing that Woodward has left. Like Woodward is actually gone out of United, and so I didn't know like what I didn't know what to do here. You just look at this guy, man, and I'm just like, just leave the club. Yeah. So let me hear your thoughts, guys. Like, what do you think about this? Or like, how can you guys summarize this?
Joy. Pure unbridled joy. Because here's the thing, like, a lot of people sort of suggested that over the years Woodward has just been a front man for the Glazers, and that's been the case. And don't get me wrong, like so far we're winning. United are winning the battle, but they're not winning the war. The ultimate end game is to get the Glazers out, and obviously this is the big step because obviously Woodward was pivotal in making sure the Glazers actually took ownership of United in the first place. And like I said, they've seen Woodward's been in charge of the last few years the football side of the game, and the football side of the game is seen as lose ground on our local rivals, our main rivals, who have managed to win a league title for the first time in 30 years. So that's happened. All of this has happened. City potentially overtaking us in their own city. Liverpool winning the league. This all happened under the reign of Woodward and the Glazers. So it can only mean good news. Obviously, it's still uncertainty because obviously we don't know who's coming in. We don't know whether the Glazers will sell up. Looking at the statements, because I said to you before we came on air, Woodward's released a statement. Joel Glazer's actually come out and made a statement as well on Woodward.
Another statement in 24 hours from Joe Glazer is like, this is a record for him. He never speaks.
Shocking.
He said that, if I just get it up here, he was talking about how Woodward has served the club with great distinction. And it's like, well, yeah, you would say that. Whereas if you speak to any right-minded fan, it's clearly not the case. But this is, it's one step in the right direction. And I hope the door doesn't hit him on the way out.
Love it. Absolutely love that. You know what? I have to agree with Nathan. At the end of the day, um, you know, the battle's won, but the war's not over. The Glazers are still obviously in charge, and like what you were saying, Abdi, they're the real criminals in this at the end of the day. So once they're gone, then that's when we truly could say that we could rebuild this club and get people that are actually loving the club and that actually care about the club to actually be running the club. And that's my dream right there. So if that could happen, then for me, I'm just a happy bunny. But look, it's a good day regardless. Anyway, Woodward's gone. We've got one guy out. Now let's get Joe and the rest of the Glazers out of the club, so Manchester United can be back to where they should be.
Yes, that's what I like to hear, man. Like it's been 8 years of miserable. Like, you know what? Yeah, like when we was winning all of these league titles, the Champions League, and people would say like, "Oh, what do you have to complain about? The Glazers, this Glazers, that. You guys are winning." I always used to say like, "We're not winning because of them. We're winning in spite of them. We're winning because we have Alex Ferguson here, the greatest manager, someone who puts pride in winning and making Manchester United on top of the football world. Like, you know, his goal was to knock Liverpool off their perch. So he wasn't going to leave just because, you know, the Glazers came in, and his goal was to knock them off the perch. He gets us to 20 league titles, and then he deserves a happy retirement, and off he goes. But since then, we have seen what a calamity these guys are. They don't know anything about how to run football clubs. It's just ridiculous. So listen, like you guys, you know what I'm thinking, what I think about the Glazers. I'm gonna bring in Coach to talk about this because this is just. I know you're excited.
It was interesting though. Like I don't like the Glazers too, but this whole saga has made me think about Woodward's really played, like how huge a part he's played in this. Because yes, if you don't know anything about the football club, if you don't know anything about football, you shouldn't be taking over a football club anyway. But Woodward is the key member of this. He's a former member of JP Morgan. JP Morgan helped the Glazers fund this whole thing. We're talking about refinancing debt, and you take over a club by giving them your debt and all that kind of stuff. And he has a big part to play in that. David Gill comes out of the job after Alex Ferguson obviously goes the same year, and he runs the establishment, tears down every single part of the foundation that we had at the club, because we mock other teams about how their teams are faulted in certain situations. Of course, they're football fans, but bear in mind, we had the greatest manager of all time. We had one of the best defenses ever in Premier League history. We still had the likes of Wayne Rooney. Van Persie was in his pomp. We had quality in that team, and people blame Alex Ferguson for the team not moving forward, and he left them with an aging team. That for me is nonsense. What Alex Ferguson did was, and it was the thing about Man United had money to spend during his time as well. We spent 30 million 4 times in the 25 years he was there. Veron, for me, I call him a semi-success, because even though he didn't stay for more than 2 years, in terms of his quality, he still saw it. It just wasn't in abundance. Rio Ferdinand, no more to say. Wayne Rooney, don't say anything either. Rio Ferdinand, don't say anything either, because we all know the success levels, right? But this guy comes in, says, I'm going to prove that Man United can do what no other club can do on this planet. Says he wants to follow the Galactico models. Can anyone tell me how successful the Galacticos were? Exactly. And then you said all of that in your first window, brought in a manager that did not win a damn thing as a player or as a manager, brought his staff with him, and to your crowning joy, your crowning jewel in all of that transfer window, saying we can do what you can't do, was Marouane Fellaini. And from there, it's a mess. Van Gaal was not asked about philosophy. Jose Mourinho was only brought in as a reaction to Pep Guardiola. And when your head was up your ass and you're looking for an answer, you sacked him and you brought in a former player just because he was the only one that agreed to be a caretaker on loan manager before he goes back. It's all been a mess. So sometimes I sit here and I'm like, I don't like the Glazers. But if this is their advisor and he's the one that always signs off all these things for the club, and bear in mind, they have given him money to give to the managers to spend, are they the real issue, or have we just got rid of the real issue right now? Because this is the testing time for them. If they're serious about this, they will really scout and look for a football head to come and take over Ed Woodward and really run this establishment properly and help United be where we know where they should be, where they have been years before he started doing this thing? Or are they going to fumble the bag again and it's going to be a case of, listen, you guys got to get the hell out of here? So sometimes I question it, but of course they're all to blame. But Woodward is for me is the biggest problem. And that's why I call him Woody Woodpecker. I don't respect him. I don't respect him. He's a fool. So get him out. You started this Fletcher Murto thing. Let's see what you're gonna do with it. This is a big summer. This summer is huge, and it has to start big. It has to start big and serious.
Fletcher is a football guy. He used to play for Man United. He's a club legend, so at least he knows how to identify talent. Like, you guys know Andy Mitten, right? Andy Mitten is a big United guy. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast that he did the other day, and he was saying that Woodward actually told him, he said he doesn't even know how to spot a talent. The guy doesn't even know a defender from a striker, like what makes a player stand out. He comes out, like Coach was saying, oh, we're going to get the best players in the world. We're coming for you. Now, we're coming for your players. We're going to get Di Maria. We're going to get Falcao. And every time that we go to sign a player, they're overpriced. They wait until the last minute, and then they overpay. I agree with you. The guy had absolutely no clue of how to run a football club, and they left him in charge. But they did that for 8 years. And if their priorities were to win the league, then they would have sacked him a long time ago. But they kept him in there because
this is the thing, though.
Money.
But this is the thing, though, because at the end of the day, they're still businessmen. They want in America these sports franchises. They're not called teams; they're called franchises. It's all about business there. So they're going to run United as a business also. So if this guy tells you, I can maximize profit despite us not bringing in success, you don't need to sack him because their pockets are full. They're calm. Business is business, no? So that's why I'm like, now that he's been forced, because he's been forced into this position right now, he has to go. Because now the wheels need to start ticking in the head and say, all right, cool, you know what, football's different from the NFL or whatever team they own in America right now. It's very different. Football's very different. You're in 4 competitions, 3 domestic and 1 European. And if you were to really put your head into it, back your club and your manager, bring in the players that he needs, buy smart, not big, buy smart, add in the quality and win. We all know it. When you win the Premier League, you get more money than anybody else. When you win the Champions League, we get more money than anybody else. Even FA Cup and League Cup, I'll even put them in there as well. Even Community Shield, I'll throw it in there as well.
Yeah.
And then you win those, you go to Club World Championship. You maximize shirt sales, you merchandise on all levels, sponsorships, Adidas, Nike, whoever wants to sponsor you has to pay you big money. Then you start thinking like that. They've been here too long to not think about bringing success to the club. And you have Sats Ferguson who's bringing you more money when it's winning things anyway. So how can you, like, this has to now get into their head, because if they're not thinking about this, then United is not the place for them. Then they have to go. Malcolm, Joel, all of them have to go.
See, the thing is as well, is like there's been a lot made about how apparently like Woodward's a successful businessman and stuff like that. And I was saying to saying before we came on air, that's like it's pretty hard to really fail in that role branding Man United, because Man United before the Glazers came over were literally the biggest institution in the world in terms of branding and stuff like that. There's literally an old expression: you go anywhere in the world and you say the word Man United, you can strike up a conversation with anyone. It doesn't matter whether you don't speak the language, we don't know the local area, you can strike up a conversation by saying the words Manchester United, and people go, oh yeah, Beckham, stuff like that. It's the branding was always there. The thing I've had with Woodward and the Glazer ownership is that we've seen countless times every season when either a new manager's come in or we've come off the back of, I wouldn't say a successful season, but a season of progress. Say after Van Gaal's first season, everyone's like, okay, right, here's the rebuild, here's a rebuild. Every single transfer window, it was a rebuild. And yet every season, United were always missing. There's 3 key positions that would stop us from potentially competing. And it's no surprise as well that you mentioned about franchises and whatnot. Interesting point you brought up, because obviously in those leagues, there's the whole reason why this is all fallen on its face is because there's no jeopardy in those, say the NFL, the NBA, because it's the same teams every single year. There's no jeopardy. I follow the NFL, but my team is the Chicago Bears, right?
Mm.
They had like a 7-9 record, right? So basically about like a 40% win average. They still get to the playoffs. That's all they can, just get into that. The playoffs are basically like, top 4. You know, you get in there and it's like, okay, you got there, well done, and then you don't actually progress because they know each season they're going to be there. The TV rights going to be there. There's no jeopardy. Hence why with the European Super League there'll be no jeopardy. Although they said it was like, it's not a closed shop because we're allowing 5 more teams to enter, and it's like, no, that means the shop is full, but you can fit in a few spaces for a couple of more. You know, it's like the nightclub's full, but do you know what? Yeah, a couple of people might be leaving. We'll squeeze a couple in. So, you know, do you know what I mean? It's basically like that. But yeah, I think in terms of the transfer policy and stuff like that, do you remember? I don't know whether you guys have heard this story, but you know, Matt Judge is at the club at the minute.
Yeah.
He's another issue as well because before we signed Wan-Bissaka, there was another. I believe who was it? It was I think the story was that Hakimi got shown around Old Trafford. He got shown around. We were in for Hakimi, and Matt Judge apparently turned around and he didn't know who Hakimi was. Bearing in mind, Hakimi had literally just entered on the scene, right? See, this is what I mean. Like, you made the point of good.
Can I just add to that? Yeah. Apparently, they looked at like, what was it, like 82 right backs around the world before they decided on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Bruv, why do you need to go through 82 right backs to decide who your right back is? Why?
You know, they've got about 63 scouts and they brought us back Fred. Like, you know, 63 scouts brought us back Fred out of the midfield options that are available. You have Saul Niguez, you have Zakaria, I mentioned last week. You've got other options, and yet, you know, it's just, you look at the recruitment staff, you know, it's like you were saying, Woodward's gone, problem's still there, and it's a case of, see, for me, I'll just pay Van der Sar whatever he wants and just bring him in.
You know what?
Can I just add to that? Sorry, Trey, carry on, mate.
You know what, Nathan? Literally, that's why they say great minds think alike. I was just about to say that we've got the CEO position opened. Bring in Van der Sar. Look at what he's done at Ajax. Let's just look at what he's done at Ajax just for a second. He's done a tremendous job at Ajax. He knows Manchester United like the back of his hand. He'll come in, he'll do a fantastic job. And it just goes back to the problem that we had initially. Remember, Ed Woodward, let's think about Ed Woodward's position. So initially he came as the finance man at Manchester United whilst David Gill was in charge as the CEO, if I'm correct, yeah? So he is the commercial man. So he was able to orchestrate sort of certain deals commercially for the club, which generated revenue from Manchester United. So when David Gill went, we've obviously brought in this finance/commercial man. Now, this same finance/commercial guy is the same person that's going out with Matt Judge to negotiate deals. So what do people expect when they see Maguire being bought for 80 million and all these sort of crazy fees? Because for me, I'm a salesperson here. I know how to negotiate. I know how to do certain things. But you can't send a finance man to go and do sales and negotiate. You can't do it. Think about it.
That's true.
You can't do it. So now that we've got rid of that, and we've got obviously we've got a new technical director, and obviously we've got Darren Fletcher as well doing a hopefully does a fantastic job. If we can at the end of the year bring in Van der Sar, I think we can do something there, man. I know we've obviously still got the parasites, which is the Glazers, but at least we've got one of them out essentially. And I could agree with Kojo. We never know. It could have been that Ed Woodward was the problem, not even the Glazers. Do you know what I mean? But my overall point is to do sales, to go out and negotiate. You don't send a finance man to go and do this. What do you expect to happen? Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. What do you expect to happen? You're right. You know what? Yeah, like when you mentioned Edwin van der Sar, I actually heard that the reason why they didn't bring him in is because Woodward was actually scared for his own role. He was scared of the impact that bringing in someone like Edwin van der Sar would have on his own career in his own position at the club. Now, I'm gonna bring in Coach next year, but I just wanted to share this. This is why I'm so happy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the progress that he has made for United so far. Yeah, and the reason being is this. Yeah, despite actually Nathan said this earlier. He said that every time that we've had some sort of success, not like winning league titles, but just getting top four, the following season, that same manager was not backed. He was let down in that second transfer window always. And then what happened? Subsequently, we would finish out of the top four. That manager gets sacked, and then we bring in a new manager. Now, Oli, the same thing happened to him. He didn't get backed in his second season, which is the start of this season. This was his second full season after securing for us the top 3 position. Despite all of that, he didn't cry about it. He didn't moan about it. He just got on with the job. Why? Because he always puts United first, not his own ego, nothing to do with how to make him happy and all of that. We've started the season, United started the season in the most horrible way. We've lost 3 out of 3 home league games or something like that. It was just dreadful. But he turned it all around, got everything, organized. The players are, everybody is on singing from the same hymn sheet, apart from maybe Donny van der Beek, which we question about that. And there are some things that you can question Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie to you guys, he is someone who's absolutely learning on the job. And as much as so many United fans will tell you, we shouldn't have a manager that's learning on the job, it's acceptable when your owners are people who don't care about your club, who only care about the success of how to fill in their own pockets. So that's all I wanted to share about this. I'm going to bring in Coach next.
A great point.
No, I think that's a very fair point. I think my thing with Ole is the same as every other manager we've had so far. I will judge you for the things on the pitch. So your selections, your in-game management, your timing of substitutions, all of that. That's because I think that's fair. You can't go into the managers for what happens above them. Now, in terms of previous management, the one thing I liked about Mourinho was this, and I could understand it. Look, Mourinho, we hear about the toxic environment, we hear about this, that, and the other, but he was trying to press the necks of the board to back him. And I understood it because, yeah, a lot of United fans didn't like him saying that second was his greatest one of his greatest achievements as a manager. But we all knew that team wasn't good enough. We all knew that we were saved a lot by David De Gea that year. And when you take a team to second, and yes, we finished 19 points behind the team that got 100 points in City, fantastic year for them. But if he feels that he is 2 or 3 signings away from making sure that the team can compete for the title next year, you got to back him because he brought you 2 trophies, which means he brought you success, and then he brought you second place, a place that you had not finished. We hadn't finished in the top 3 after Sir Ferguson left. That we weren't even close. You know what I mean? So I could understand the atmosphere being a little bit tense over there because it's like, well, you brought me in to make this team successful. I'm getting you closer, and you're telling me it's not going to happen. So what's the point? What's the point of me? So I'm going to make a point now. And even though I didn't agree with the way he did things, I understood it because you want to win, I like. Everyone wants to
he's a winner. Mourinho
is
a
winner.
winner.
He wants to do everything that he wants to do to win. Now, what I like about Ole is, yes, I like what you said. He has, Jesus Christ, Robert just hit the post. He's doing everything in his power. He's doing everything in his power. I really believe he's doing everything in his power to try and make this team even better. And the fact that we're even this close to City, even though I don't think we're going to win the league, but the fact we're this close to City at this stage is a good sign. It's a very good sign because it shows that now he's starting to build something bit by bit. He's starting to find his ideas. His football starting to come through slowly. It's taken a while, but at least we're starting to see the progressions. He's got our top players, and when I say top players, our Pogba is playing fantastically well. Bruno, even if he doesn't play well, he still contributes one way or another. And, even though we can question like a Rashford at times for his decision making, at least he's a constant threat. So he's maximizing these things now. But we still have the same issues we have with Mourinho. We still want another defender. We still want a defensive midfielder. We still want a right winger. And we're still looking for a killer striker. So we still got the same issues. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't now get mad at Ole if in the summer he made a statement saying the Glazers need to do something. I wouldn't be mad at him because I'd be like, yeah, you're right. They need to do something now because you're getting us close to a league title challenge again. And what? These guys are going to say no. But now Woodward's going. So that's why I was asking the question previously. Is he the issue? Because if a new guy comes in, footballing brain, and I think Van der Sar's difficult because he's in a higher position in terms of role at Ajax than he's at United. But the way he talks about United constantly over social media shows that he still loves the club.
Absolutely,
so if we offered him a contract and a role that gave him power to help Ole, maybe, just maybe, he'll come in and do things for us, and that will be huge. So I have sympathy for all our previous managers, even one of the other Scotsmen that we brought to the club, not Silas Ferguson, the other one, because yeah, I don't say his name in this house, bro. He's banned in my house because
Come on,
not my Tommy, no, the manager. Because even him, we
Don't
heard
mention his name. Nobody mention his name.
No, it's not allowed. It's not allowed.
I said it earlier. We heard about Tony Kroos. We heard about bringing in Bell, which was never going to happen. We heard about Fabregas. We heard about so many names, and we end up with Marouane Fellaini. And yes, that's a player that he worked with previously, but again, he's not a winner. Neither is the manager. So if you want these two to come and join a team of winners and tell them that they're going to do this to win, it's not going to work. It's not going to function. So this summer is huge, and if Ole does not get backed, I'm not going to lie to you, I want him to go nuts. I want him to go absolutely nuts because, again, if it keeps happening, what's the definition of insanity?
But do you guys think here, like Kojo is making a perfect point here. We want him to do that, but can you guys see him actually doing this? Like, can you see him going against the board and the Glazers? Does he have it in him?
I think he does because if you look at when Solskjaer first joined, he literally did say about how some of these players won't be playing for this club and stuff like that. It was a back of the Everton 4-0 and whatnot. And also when he first came in, he was like, right, Marouane out the door, you're gone. Yeah. Herrera, obviously the contract situation, no one really like conflicting stories behind it and stuff like that. In all fairness, his first proper window, I know we got him Maguire, but I wouldn't say he actually got back. He did very well to manage that team to the top four. Because they're missing, we're missing Pogba for a good chunk of the season that season. We had to get Bruno into January to sort of, elevate us. You'll see up to that point, United were lingering around 15th, playing in midfield of Lingard and Andreas Pereira. And Lingard's doing well now, but at the time it was like Andreas Pereira, Matic, Mata. It's he got rid of a 20-goal a season striker in Lukaku. He didn't fit into his plans, and then he was told by the board, by the way, you're probably not going to get anyone else in. But I think with Solskjaer, it's a case of he's not been afraid to sort of not just the team selection. Obviously, we've seen that like Pogba, he would happily rest Pogba, and Pogba. A lot of people feel that he's the player with the most influence in the Man United dressing room because we all know who his scumbag. His agent is. So there's that.
He is. His agent is annoying.
Yeah. See, I don't know because it will be a test of because obviously on the point of the last podcast, I sort of wanted to mention, but I forgot the point during the recording that about when Solskjaer was asked the questions on Sunday after the game, and there was a lot of like outrage online about, why didn't Solskjaer say anything? It's like, right, would you? Do you know what I mean? It's like you wouldn't. First of all, he definitely wouldn't have known. Secondly, with the way the owners are, you're not going to turn around and go, oh yeah, I hate the owners. I'm opposed to getting to Super League because then you'll see a statement a few hours later. Solskjaer relieves his duties as Man United manager. Yeah.
But he didn't even have any time to even think about it. Like they've let him down big time. Yeah. He didn't have any time to think about it. So how can you expect him? Exactly. Yeah, Trey.
They hung him to dry, and which they've done to a lot of managers. But I think the managers that we've had before, the reason why they were able to speak out probably more than Solskjaer has, because let's face it, they've got more of a standing in the world of football than obviously Solskjaer has. Mourinho has won Champions Leagues. Van Gaal's won Champions Leagues. The other one we'll forget. What it's like. The other one used to manage Leon Osman and Tony Hibbert.
And he wanted to turn Rio Ferdinand and Vidic into Phil Jagielka.
Yeah, exactly.
It's mad. Absolutely crazy.
So do you see why he's banned in my house now? You see why I don't say his name?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that conversation? Rio, mate, I know you've won a few Premier League titles, but did you see Phil Jagielka go and goal for Sheffield United? That's what you've got to be there. That's what you've got to be.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
But I agree with you guys. Now, all right, this is actually a perfect segue now, because this was supposed to be about Mourinho initially. So we're gonna get into the Mourinho talk now, and whether he's finished or not as a coach, and what do you guys think about him? Then after that, we're gonna get into the Super League if we have time for it. So I was telling Coach earlier, not earlier, but the other day, that I honestly do believe that Jose Mourinho is finished as a football manager at the top level, not especially when it comes to club level, not international level. We're going to get into that and where we see him next year. Now, the reason why I was saying that I believe that he's finished at this level in terms of managing football clubs in this generation is because I don't believe that he knows how to manage these guys anymore. These young players are mercenaries. They don't care. They're not as passionate of football players like back in the days. The way he used to talk about Frank Lampard, the way he would treat Frank Lampard, the way he would motivate Frank Lampard is not the same way that he would motivate Dele Alli. Or Ali is not going to respond to it the same way that Frank Lampard used to do it. So you look at this guy, how many jobs has he actually got sacked from? You look at Real Madrid. Okay, that ended in an ugly way because he turned the Spanish players against each other, Barcelona and Real Madrid. It became two different corners. And then he comes to Chelsea and he says, I'm the happy man now. Like all of a sudden, he's the happy guy. He gets them fourth position and they get into the semi-final of the Champions League. So in the summer, they back him with Diogo Costa and Fabregas, and then he wins them the league title. I promise you this year, guys, I have always been a fan of Mourinho. And when I saw that season, especially the opening game, do you guys remember that assist that Cesc Fabregas set up for Andre Schürrle? One of the most beautiful goals that you will see. And that season, I was so happy to see him being successful. Like, because it was bad for us anyway. It was after Alex Ferguson left. I believe, yeah. And
it was Van Gaal's first season. That was because the game you were talking about, question finished.
Van Gaal's first season.
Yeah. It was Burnley's first season back after a few years out as well.
Oh, so, yeah, of course it was. It was, yeah.
And his first game against United in that season, Van Persie scored a late equalizer. So yeah, I remember it well. Now, that season, when he won them the league title, I was so happy for him. And then he fell out with them. And this is why I'm saying the same mistakes repeat with him again and again. You look at what happened in that season. He fell out with the medical team. Yeah, he fell out with the sports medical team because he doesn't believe in sports science. Mourinho believes in something called tactical modernization, where you only train with the ball, and that's it. Train repetitively with the ball. There's nothing to do with sports science. Now he falls out with them. He falls out with Hazard, and then he comes to United. Now United, obviously, whatever reason that they signed him for, or whatever that could have happened, he was always moaning about whether it's something to do with the stadium, whether it's something to do with the players not having enough motivation, whether it is something to do with Luke Shaw and say like, oh, he's playing with his body but with my mind. And again, he falls out with the sports medical team, even at United. And this is a true story, guys. This is what happened here. I'm going to keep it short. There is a United admin who actually got sacked because of Mourinho. Because there was a delay, United were coming back from London And because the guy obviously he doesn't know what's going to happen in the future. The poor guy, he ended up getting sacked because United had to get their coach because they couldn't get the plane anymore due to fog and the rain and things like that. So we coming back from London to Manchester. We have to get the bus, and Mourinho's not happy about it. And this guy, he ends up actually resigning, even though he's been at the club for 27 years. Just think about that.
Crazy.
Now, the same thing again is happening at Tottenham, and that's why he's getting sacked here. You look at how he's picking on players like Bale, Ali, Serge Aurier, just doesn't matter, left, right, and center. He just picks his favorite players, and then he's like, "Oh, this is my favorite son. I want you to be like him," and the players don't respond to that. Now, the players are when he says things like "same coach, different players," how do you think a player would respond to that? That's why I was saying this guy is done at this level. So the floor is you guys, like, but that's all I got to say about this guy.
I think what's happened with Mourinho is we're in a stage where a lot of the players now are very different from when he first came to the Premier League. So when he was at Porto, obviously you have that connection with the Portuguese players. He knows his Portuguese players. I think he knows how to get on with them just fine because I think you've seen that at Tottenham as well. He was trying to get like Ruben Dias, Bruno Fernandes, and a couple of other Portuguese players into the club anyway. So I think he's always had a connection. But I think it's like this. Players now of this era has changed in the sense of how youth players are being brought up, how top players are being treated, or how they're being looked after, rather, is the better way to say it. Because a top player like John Terry and Lampard didn't need looking after. They looked after themselves. The players now are a lot more, I'll say they're a lot more babied. I don't think he deals with that. So someone like Dele Alli, and bear in mind, Dele Alli had a fantastic start under Mourinho when Mourinho came in. He was scoring goals, he was creating goals. He was a lot more forward again, getting into the midst of things. And then Mourinho told him he's a bad trainer, which is true, and he sulked. And he's been poor. Bale is unreliable, if I'm being honest, in terms of his fitness anyway. But in general, I don't know if he's finished. And the reason I say I don't know if he's finished is because I think he's looking to he wants to be in a club where the characters that he needs, he's able to bring in. And when I say characters, I mean like this. When he left his Man United job, he went to Sky Sports, was doing his punditry thing, sorry. They asked him about why he left the club and all that. He said, listen, next club I'm going to join, everything that I asked for needs to be brought in. So obviously he was fed lies or he was told things and he wasn't given to him. Hence what we're talking about the Alderweireld Smalling situation, for example. He's gone to Tottenham now, and everyone, I'm sure everyone here as well, we're like, what the hell is he doing at Tottenham? Because if you're not going to get money at United, Daniel Levy, surely, like, what's going on there? But at the same time, when he made that move, I was saying to my co-host on my pod that if Tottenham have made this move, then they're now starting to try and act like big boys, which means they're going to try and spend money. They've got a new stadium, so they're going to try and, you know, authoritize themselves and say, yeah, we're about this now. We want to be a big boy, so we're going to back this manager, giving the players that he wants, and he's going to go and run things. And it fell flat on their face because how much money did they spend? Because I know they've bought a lot of players, but Bale was alone, Vinicius was alone, Justin Fernandez was alone. So in terms of money spent, Højbjerg was what, 5 million? Matt Doherty was another one for 5 million. He was quite cheap as well, wasn't he?
He was like, I think he was right about 20 mil. I think Højbjerg was a bit more than what he said. I think Højbjerg and Doherty were combined. I think they were combined about 40 mil because I think obviously Doherty at the time, when he was at Wolves, he sort of garnered a bit of a reputation because Wolves obviously get piped off by the press as thought they're actually pretty blind.
So let's say 20 each because they'll go there. Serge Reguilon, he's done well so far. And is there anyone else that they brought in for money? I can't.
Joe, that Rodon from Swansea.
Rodon,
Rodon
came from Swansea, and that's quite a cheap deal to do as well. So that's fair. Cool. That's 4 players, right? And the thing that I get on to Spurs players about is that yes, sometimes the tactics very much off. Sometimes the football not very nice to watch. But when he was playing this football and you were top in November, you were saying you're going to win the league. Pochettino told you that a lot of these players are now done out but you hang on to the fact that yeah, we lost to Dinamo Zagreb, but with this starting 11, we beat Borussia Dortmund 3-0. It's football. Results happen.
Yeah.
Results. We beat Liverpool 3-2 in the FA Cup. We also lost 2-1 to Sheffield United. It's football. You cannot come and say because of this, so he should be doing better. You should also look at your players sometimes. And this is where I get into it as well, because maybe it's a bit old school in me also, that when I'm coaching, because I've coached from the age of 5 to the age of, what was the oldest player, guys? 32 was the oldest player that I've had so far in my coaching career. And I'm very much old school. I don't baby these guys. There's no one that I've ever babied. There's no one that I don't even put the arm around the shoulder. I don't do all that stuff. I tap your shoulder. I'm like, come, let's talk. Because I'm a bit old school, but I want you to have that independence. I don't want you to be all mollycoddled and, if you have a bad game. Pampered is the right word. I want you to, believe in yourself, grow within yourself, so that if you have a bad day, you can put your chin up and say, all right, we go again. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of these Tottenham players are allowed to get away with so much because if Tottenham fans are real with themselves, if they assess that team, apart from Kane, Son, Ndombele, Højbjerg, and Reguilon, I'd say the rest.
Add Lloris as well into that mix as well.
Even him, I'm not sure. Because I feel like ever since he won the World Cup, he's been losing his powers. He's an old man. It's okay. He's aging. It's like Alderweireld. He's a good defender, but he's aging. He's gonna lose the powers. So apart from those 5 that I mentioned, there's no one else in that team that I'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta keep you. Maybe you'll tear them in the sense of you can't make 15 changes in one transfer window. But if you could get them out bit by bit, you get rid of Doherty first, but keep Aurier because he's been better than him this season. But at some point, Aurier got to go because it'll still cost you games. And then Eric Dyer will be a first ballot, get the heck out of the club kind of player. He's just shocking in general.
He's there because he speaks Portuguese. That's why he was there.
Yeah, he is. Everyone's so all on that. Was it all or nothing? Is that what it was called? The documentary on Amazon. They spoke English for about 5 seconds, and then Mourinho went Portuguese, and Dyer started smiling because he knows he's the only other player that's English that can also speak Portuguese in that team. So he knew his place was set. So it's like, I understand the anger about Mourinho, but sometimes these players get away with far too much nonsense. So I don't know if he's finished yet. I think, though, he's finished in the Premier League. You will never see Mourinho in this league again. Unless Newcastle are taken over. That's the only way. Because Newcastle with money, no FFP. Newcastle with a load of money, a historic club, no FFP. Mourinho, and the owners will say, buy who the hell you want to buy. You'll see a smiling Mourinho. That's the real happy one. And quickly, quickly. Hazard gained weight. He's a fat boy. He gained weight. And he has not lost it since. He went to a rigid overweight, injury prone, and he's done nothing there as well. So he's another one that needs to be spoken about as well. Because if I speak about him, people are going to think I'm mad. But trust me, he's another one that needs to be questioned.
I agree with you. I agree with you about the players. Yeah, about the players and the culture, the toxic culture that they bring in. But guys, we have to be realistic. This is the generation that we live in. So if you can't deal with it, then what can you do? Yeah. So like, whoever wants to go next, guys, is up to you.
Yeah, I'll.
Go ahead.
You say about the culture as well. I think it's just the culture of football has just generally changed over the past 15, 20 years. Because you got to think that when Mourinho came in, Mourinho was seen as sort of revolutionary and stuff like that. Obviously, come off the back of the Champions League win with Porto the year before. Actually, he won the UEFA Cup with them. So he had natural progression. He came in and a lot of Chelsea fans obviously have real disdain towards Mourinho now, but they also have to think back that Mourinho is literally one of the key reasons. Obviously, the other one's a Russian oil owner, but one of the key reasons why they are where they are now. Mourinho raised their profile. He got them to the Champions League semi-final in the first season. Frankly, that Luis Garcia goal didn't go in, but by the by, right? Yeah. But his style of football as well. He came in with a mentality of his mentality when he sets out teams is that they play in moments rather than the game itself. So you see in the Tottenham documentary about how winning the ball back, done, pass, space, done, goal. Like, it's literally in moments. You play in moments. You saw many times at United where, like, you know, you play in moments, like a last minute winner against Young Boys in the Champions League. You know, it's sort of it's strange because with Mourinho, people. So this is what I don't get is how people, even when he won the league with Chelsea back in 2015, a lot of people criticised his football, and I sat there thinking, oh yeah, I bet Chelsea fans are really unhappy about that. You know, they just won the league, but didn't we play long ball? It's like, no, you're not going to complain, are you? You know, if you win the league, you win the league. But I think a lot of it with Mourinho, you have to look at the timeline of how he's left the clubs and what's happened in between. So, for example, when he left Inter Milan, he left. That was probably his last. That was probably the peak of Mourinho. If you think about it, you know, he had the second leg against Barca, where, to be honest, I found the performance really funny away from home because it was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, shut up shop, denied Messi, won the Champions League, and won the treble with them. And afterwards, there's a story as well that when he left Real Madrid, one of his final press conferences. Apparently, he had to leave for like a couple of minutes because someone had apparently told him, his personal assistant had told him that David Moyes had got the Scotsman. The Scotsman, the other Scotsman in the Premier League era, had got the Man United job. And apparently, the story is that he went out and he was like really, really upset about it because that's the one he wanted. And I think that if Mourinho had actually got the United job off the back of Sir Alex, I think we would have been looking at 21, 22 league titles in all honesty, because he would have had a squad there that he knew that wouldn't have had to be babysit in a way, like he mentioned earlier, about, you know, because he would have had Fernand in there, probably would have managed him a bit better, Vidic. And since you're not playing high-pressing football, you're not exactly going to move out so much, you can just conserve their energy. And since then, he's just had this weird... it's like this weird bitterness in a way that, like, things have to be in place. I know, like, he did get shafted quite a bit by the board, you know, because even when United won those 2 trophies in the first season, I look at it and think I don't think he was even backed during the summer before City won did the 100 points. Because you think, right, Michael Carrick brought in Matic, and it's like that's not a replacement, that's a downgrade, right?
Yeah.
Lukaku came in for Zlatan, but I think Zlatan brought a bit more to his game than probably Lukaku did, in my opinion anyway. You know, a centre-back was touted and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, you could have gone for Van Dijk. Now you sort of go for an unproven lad in Lindelof, and I think Lindelof's all right, but he's obviously not like Van Dijk level, you know. So, I know it's just many factors. I think what it comes down to is just the culture of football is literally just left him behind. I think he's still brought up on the Sir Bobby Robson philosophy, you know, and obviously there's talks of him going to Newcastle because, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be fitting if it was, you know, Sir Bobby and stuff like that? But then it's like we've seen players or we've seen managers go to clubs where, you know, it'd probably be like a match made in heaven. It's the perfect fit. Ronald Koeman's a bang average manager. He's at Barcelona. You know what I mean? It doesn't exactly work out. You know, football is about a fairy tale, but there's always, you know, there's always an end, but there's always an end of the chapter sort of thing. It comes to a point. I think Mourinho in itself, because of how he perceives football and how he plays football and whatnot, I think international management probably is the next step. Although, to be fair, I wouldn't mind seeing him back on punditry because I think he add a lot. A lot of good. A lot
very good
onto the game. I mean, he's only got to compete with Graham Souness, so I bet the conversation about would be absolutely riveting. But you know,
trust me.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, like I remember the first time that he was on Sky after he got sacked from the United job, and he was saying I think he was talking to someone. He said like, "Oh, Maguire is gonna find it difficult to cover for Luke Shaw." Like even when he's not coaching him, he's still taking shots at him, and I'm just thinking like, you don't need to. He's so petty, man. Listen, the guy has always been a winner, and Trey, yeah, you go next. Carry on.
Yeah, you know what? All you guys make valid points about Mourinho. Just to sort of surmise what you boys are saying. Essentially, he's just managing a period now where football's changed. Players now are not the players that he had when he was at Chelsea the first time. He had the likes of Drogba, he had Lampard, he had John Terry. He had these characters in his team where he could say things to them and they would give him a response. Whereas you gave an example of Dele Alli, for example. He's not the type of player where you say, oh, he's not the best trainer. His response wouldn't be, let me prove you wrong. His response is something completely different. He collapsed, of course. And we haven't basically seen the best of Dele Alli since those sort of comments has come out. And Mourinho also hasn't made it good for himself as well. By him, look, I know with self-branding and social media and stuff like that, but by him also being involved online, and I remember I saw something online about Dele Alli was just going bowling with his family, and Mourinho commented on his page saying something just to insult him. I'm just thinking, like, the guy's just out of his family, enjoying, like, and you're gonna make these sort of comments, man. So it's just, I just have to say that with Mourinho, I just think with the timing of the generation that we're in right now, I just don't think that his style of management is not fitted for this generation. And I feel that international football or possibly another league maybe would be best suited for his style. And I think he needs characters in his team. He needs soldiers. He needs like characters like back in the days. But unfortunately, we live in a time where we have, let's say, for example, we've got a captain for a team that he's not necessarily going to be a leader of the team, but they sort of choose him to be a captain because he's the best player. We live in this sort of time. So I just think it's finished, man, in terms of that, unfortunately.
I'll miss him though.
Look, he's the special one for a reason. And look, if you go through his achievements, you go through what he's achieved at Porto. One thing I'd recommend for some of the subscribers, the viewers on here is go to Football's Greatest Managers, type in Mourinho, that documentary there. You understand how great he is as a manager, man. But I just feel that he's fallen under the category now of when a new time, new ideas, and new manager styles have to obviously come into play. And I do wish him the best. Yeah. He's a great character.
Listen, I miss him as well. I miss the best of Mourinho. Not this Mourinho that's always moaning about something. He's always crying about something. Like the guy when he came at Chelsea, and do you guys remember the incident, the halftime incident where he went into the basket and hid in there, and you have things like that. And then he goes to Inter Milan, he wins the treble, and then he does this celebration, sort of like you will have to arrest him to stop him. He overtakes Juventus in Milan and all of that. He wins the treble, wins for Real Madrid. Like the football that they played was remarkable. That transition football that he played there. Now.
Have you guys, by the way, heard about the Balotelli incident?
Yeah.
Where he spent Balotelli got yellow carded, spent 14 minutes in the 15 in change room telling him, look, you're the only striker I've left. Eto, Milito out. I need you to sort of stay focused. Balotelli's like, yeah, don't worry, I've got this, pal. First minute, gets sent off, and it's like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
My favorite moment of him was that interview where they're like, "Oh, you've just won the League Cup, but you feel like you had to do it prove yourself." And he goes, "Sir Ferguson's the only European champion here besides me. So prove what?" He had that look on his face, like, and they walked off. I was like, "Yeah, that's my king. That's my king." Like, I love even through the hardest times, I just love his comedy. He's just funny.
The specialist failure comments towards Wenger as well.
Oh, beautiful, man, it's legendary.
Wow,
legendary.
Whereas he's talking about a specialist. He is the real specialist of failure. What, like 8 years without a league title? It's like,
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what, guys, I have to say as well, because we're all United fans and we experienced Mourinho for the first time when we played Porto in that Champions League game, when he ran the length of the pitch to celebrate with the Porto players, man. I remember that day I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I was so upset. But then you see some Portuguese guy run over and celebrate with the players. I was thinking, this guy. And that year they won the Champions League. It just shows you what sort of character he was. And look, we're going to miss him. Well, of course, we're going to miss him in football.
Truly special. Truly special
Actually,
one.
the best United moment for me was when he set up and parked the bus at Anfield in that certain game, because he afterwards.
Is that the Chelsea game?
Yeah, it was a Liverpool Chelsea game.
Gerrard
Wasn't it?
slip.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Gerrard
I
slip.
remember that.
Right.
Oh, the Gerrard slip, yeah.
Where
Oh,
he basically set up, parked the bus. He played this lad called Thomas Callas, right?
Yeah.
That was his only
yeah.
ever game for Chelsea. That was only game for Chelsea. Did that, right? Yeah. The only thing I sort of got annoyed at from watching that game was when Willian scored the second one. I wanted him to square it back to Torres to make Torres finish the job just for like personal satisfaction of me. But like, you know, and then obviously Mourinho starts giving that walking past walking past the Liverpool fans, started going like that, and he just seemed like,
no,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? Sorry, I have to add this as well. Look, you have to obviously end things on a high, man. But remember the game that we played against Juventus away. We scored that last-minute winner, and then you see Mourinho do the ear celebration. Oh my gosh, like that!
I've got the picture here.
You got
I've got the picture right here.
Yes. Oh, I
That's
love
the
him.
one.
I love him too much. What a
That's
king.
the one. He's
What a
king,
king.
man. He's a king, man. You gotta love him.
Yeah. No, listen, Mourinho is special. He's a special coach. And you know what? Yeah, I think what really hurt him is to see someone like Oli succeed in him and then managing to stabilize everything after him. And then what is really going to piss him even more is seeing someone like Ryan Mason replace him now at Tottenham.
Oh.
Ryan Mason. Yeah. So that actually takes me to my next point, guys. And Nathan is already on it. Yeah, we're going to conclude fast. But I wanted to ask your opinion, guys. Like, who should be the next manager for Tottenham? Obviously, not Ryan Mason, but anyone that you have in mind?
they're talks of Nagelsmann, isn't there, at Leipzig? But then it's like,
I'm sure he's going Bayern.
but
Yeah,
then it's
sure,
like,
Bayern.
Bayern. It's like, weigh it up. One of them's an elite European club, the other's Tottenham Hotspur. Where would you go? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's like they talk about as European Super League, you know, the European elite clubs. Tottenham are allowed in, and Bayern obviously said no, but Bayern are the elite club anyway because they're the current Champions League holders. But Eddie Howe's a shout, because I think the talk of him going to Celtic has died down a bit now, because I think the Celtic hierarchy are probably a bit fearful now. Mourinho's been sacked. That actually, that'd be a weird one as well. Mourinho at Celtic will be a bit of a funny.
That would be crazy. That would be absolutely mad.
Mourinho versus Gerrard for the Scottish League title.
Whoa.
I can see the comments already, you know.
It'd be like picking between which one of your family members you want sleeping with your missus. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit more like.
I can see the comments already from Mourinho. You know, he slipped up in the game against Chelsea, and he slipped up in the title race. But this is why I can see it already.
The ironic thing is, like, obviously a couple of years back, he was like, I could go to a league where the title's already in the pocket. And then you go over there, it's like, now I've got competition. I was going to join, but now I've got competition. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
that's one of the things that he would say. He would change the narrative.
Yeah,
of course. And you know as well. Like we know Mourinho's arrogant, so he would say, look, I look at every manager in the league, and I've won more trophies than all these managers put together.
Combined.
This is typical. You
Respect, man.
just
Respect.
know he's gonna say
Respect.
something like that,
So,
man.
so Eddie Howe, you think Eddie Howe probably should be the next Tottenham manager? What about you, Trent or Roger?
Whew, you know what? It's a tough one because Spurs is a tough situation because the summer, if we're gonna be sort of truly realistic, I don't think they'll be able to hang on to Kane in this summer window. If I'm honest with you, Kane's obviously or his representatives have come out and said that if they don't get Champions League football, then possibly could be out. So the next person that comes in would potentially have to come into a Tottenham team without Harry Kane. So that's going to be a problem in itself. But for me, I think Eddie Howe, like what Nathan's saying, I think would be a good person for that role. English, British. He's obviously going to have a good relationship with Levy, which we believe so, hopefully. And hopefully he'll be given the platform to be able to implement his football and try just get the steady the ship essentially for Spurs. Because right now, Levy, he can't just expect a manager to come in and perform miracles. Right now, it's just about steadying the ship, and he might need a manager to come in and steady the ship for a few years, and let's see what happens after that.
Yeah,
I'll lie to you. I don't want to see Eddie Howe anywhere near the Tottenham job. I do not rate that man one bit. I don't rate him. I don't like him because I feel like, and maybe Bournemouth has a part to play in it, but I feel like there was a time where he needed to really improve that team, and he was too loyal to the players he came up with in the sense of sometimes you just got to go past him and say, listen, we need to upgrade, we need to get better. I don't trust him to do that with Tottenham. I feel like he'll be too loyal to a couple of players, and those players are the ones that are letting Tottenham down right now. This one might be a bit of a left field throw. I don't know how people are going to feel about this because he's very much kind of unknown in the whole world of football per se. But Sporting Lisbon's Ruben Amorim is my shout. Just because I've been watching him for some reason. So I've got free sports on my my Freeview TV in my room, and through free sports you get to watch like La Liga, Serie A, and they show Portuguese football as well sometimes. And him at Braga and what he's doing at Sporting Lisbon now has been flipping incredible. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, you could actually generally be the next elite manager. He's playing football the way fans in general want football to be played. He's getting excellent results with a team that's competing with Porto and Benfica, two clubs that were so clear of Sporting Lisbon just last year. And he's got the top of the table comfortably. So that's my left field throw, but I know that's a risky one because Portuguese league is very different to the Premier League. But I really feel like he's a very smart manager who buys smart, who uses players smartly, rotates well, and I feel like Tottenham need that. And I feel like Harry Kane is a manager that will let him rest. He's someone that let Vinicius play sometimes, let the guy rest and take a breather. So that's my left field throw. I'm gonna go for him because I think he'll be good, and that's my shout. If Ole does not stay, that's why I went at Man United as well.
Yeah, really?
No, nice, nice, man.
Yeah.
Where's Allegri coming into this, by the way? Because Allegri's been out of like management for like the past couple of years as well. He's another one that's been sort of touted. Obviously, you got the Wolves manager as well. He's been linked with a move away for like quite some time. Whether he'll, because obviously at Wolves at the minute they've not exactly had a great season. Because they lost Jimenez, and that Fabio Silva's not really done much in terms of providing the cover. So Nuno's another one. You've got Allegri. You've got obviously Nagelsmann, but we said he's probably going Bayern Munich. But yeah, there's like, to be fair, I was thinking about Porto's manager as well. Because obviously he's done well with them. Obviously, he got them to the quarterfinal of Champions League. They almost knocked out Chelsea? They had a good chance of knocking out Chelsea, but obviously,
that was a dead game. But yeah, let me throw this out here. Fonseca of Roma. I like the. He plays football. He plays attacking football. He likes to build up from the back, and he can use a variety of systems He's already won the league title with Shakhtar. He's done very well over there. Now at Roma, which I have to say is a squad um, that is overachieving. He's had so many injuries to key players like Zaniola, Pellegrini, and then you also look at who he has up front playing for. He has ex-Premier League players like Pedro, Mkhitaryan, Dzeko, players who have failed elsewhere or are getting older. Then there's people like maybe someone like Smalling. It's like just not good footballers that he has around, not the Roma of back in the days. And then talking about American owners, they're actually owned by an American owner, and they were saying to him like, if you don't get top four with this team, you're gonna get the sack. I'm just thinking like, you're Roma. You think you're better than? Do you really think you're better than Atalanta, Lazio, AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juve? For you to be getting into that top four, it doesn't make any sense. So what we're doing right now with Roma, even if they're fifth, that is overachieving. So imagine what you could do with Harry Kane, Son, and Lucas Moura, all of these guys. So I get the Sporting Lisbon shout, absolutely, and the Wolves manager, definitely, yeah, definitely, I get that. But this is someone who has experience of winning titles in in a good league, and he's got good experience in Serie A. So it's gonna be interesting. Whoever they go for, as long as it's not Ryan Mason, I think they're gonna do a good job. But before we go, I wanted to ask you just your final points about the Super League and just like what a mess of a situation. Do you guys have anything to say about that?
Well, I'm going to just briefly talk about the comments in the interview Florentino Perez came up with yesterday, where he turned around and he was like, 16 to 24-year-olds don't really watch football. And I was like, yeah, because when I turned 25 in March, that was the first time in 8 years I turned on Sky Sports. You know, do you know what I mean? It's like it's absolutely ludicrous. It's just it's a case of now everything's sort of kicked off and the teams are backing out. Even from a United perspective, I honestly hope they get deducted points and fined and placed under a transfer embargo, because I think it's just a moral attack on the English game. It just doesn't. It's literally, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I know there are issues if there's issues in the game that needs to be addressed first before even contemplating just a sick idea of breaking off and forming the big boys club where only if you have £1 billion you can come in, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm happy it's fallen flat on its face. Hopefully it's hopefully as well, we talked about ownership earlier. I hope in this country we adopt the Bundesliga model of 50+1. Give fans majority ownership back. Have them more of a say. Obviously, you can't get like deluded fans who think we're going to sign this, that, and the other every single window. You need to get like fans in, like not like educated fans, but fans that are loyal fans. The ones who turn up every single game. They wanted to be going for like 10, 20 plus years. Those are the people that know the ins and outs of the club. But yeah, in terms of the European Super League, I'm happy it's not well. Looks as though it's not happening. It's a case of we don't know what tomorrow brings, sort of thing. Yesterday it was all doom and gloom. Now it's ecstasy and happiness. Tomorrow, we could be outside with signs saying it's the end of the world. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. Obviously, yesterday was a whole completely different situation. Essentially, I woke up this morning thinking that, damn, like this could be the end of football. And then you hear the news break out that Chelsea have withdrawn, and then City have withdrawn, and then Woodward resigning, and then Juventus is chairman resigning as well. So for me, eventually what we're going to see is the more the truth comes out, the more things are going to unravel, and we're going to see more people drop out. So it's going to be a domino effect, and I'm just so happy that this is not going to be happening. Obviously, we've had a few players come out and support the movement of not having this Super League. So you have to big up, obviously, Rashford, Bruno, Jordan Henderson, Milner. All these players have obviously come out and they've supported the cause of not having this happen. Because look, we're fans. We love football, and what people need to understand is that without fans, football's nothing. Do you know what I mean? We're the ones that are buying the merchandise. We're the ones when the restrictions are going to be lifted. We're going to be the ones paying for the tickets to go to the stadium. So our views matter. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just happy that there is some sort of resolve, and I hope that by the end of the week that we're going to just sort of talk about the Europa League, the Champions League, and we can just sort of kick on. Because it's sort of come at a time, and let me just add this, it's come at a time where I felt that United are sort of getting to a point where things are going well. And then boom, this has happened, and it's not been at a good time for us. And can you imagine what the players are going through? All that hard work that they've obviously put in to get to this point where a few, obviously we're quite a way off our City, but we don't know what will happen. But we're in the semi-final of the Europa League. We're on course to potentially achieving the goal that we had at the start of the season, which is to one, get a trophy, and two, to qualify for the Champions League next year. So for me, I'm just happy that this doesn't happen, and we can just sort of kick on and go out and do what we need to do best, which is get a trophy.
Yeah. This was a case of bad guys versus bad guys. The good guys won being us, the fans, but the UEFA versus these clubs, it was bad guys versus bad guys in the sense of our owners are awful people, awful greedy. Perez, Agnelli, Woodward or Joe Glazer, whoever was at the heart of this thing for United, versus UEFA, who have been done for corruption, this, that, and the other. I mean, people within there, within FIFA as well. There's no good guys in those spaces here, but the good guys really won. We won this because we weren't allowing this to happen. It was absolute nonsense from the start, and this is the first time the fans' voices have really been heard, like to this level, to this extent. But what I will say is this: we can't stop applying the pressure now to UEFA because we might have stopped our clubs from forming the Super League, but UEFA have been getting away with far too much for far too long. Finding players that have been racially abused and giving them bans like Kamara of Rangers, who was dealt with awfully. He gets racially abused, he gets a ban. It's stuff like that. So now we need to give them that kind of pressure. You hear what Bamford said yesterday? When it hits their pockets, they will come and shout. But when it comes to racism, they're quiet. So we need to keep applying the pressure now. You don't stop here. This is just the beginning. But overall, I'm just super happy that the Super League's done already because I think all of us wanted our club, Man United, to really go and essentially tarnish our history. Tarnish the reason why we fell in love and I still love this club. Because if I had joined that Super League, I can tell you right now, I would not have been part of Man United any longer. I can tell you that much to cost. So I'm just glad that it's done, it's over and dealt with, and Woodward is getting the hell out of this club. And I couldn't be even happier than that.
Yeah. All I can say is you guys have absolutely nailed it on. And at the end of the day, these guys have tried it now. And it's not the first time they've done it. This has been in the making for years and years and years, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop here. So what we have to do is, as fans of each one of these clubs, doesn't matter if it's Chelsea, if it's City or United, Liverpool, but you know what, I genuinely do believe, actually, I'll take it back, that it was Chelsea and City were actually forced into this. I don't think they were leading it. And for them to be the first clubs to actually withdraw out of it, I think it makes sense for them to do that because they haven't been leading it. Now, the real criminals for me are the United owners, Liverpool owners, Arsenal owners. The Tottenham guy, just forget about him. He's just a follower. He's happy to just be invited to the party. Yeah, so just forget about him. Then you have the Real Madrid owner, president. Barcelona guy, Andrea Agnelli of Juventus, Inter Milan, just like people all in a mess. But in the Premier League, these three clubs, United, Liverpool, and Arsenal, we need to come together and we need to get these American owners out of these football clubs. Just get them out of these football clubs because all they care about is just how to be richer, make more money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the community or, did you guys know that John Henry, the Liverpool owner, doesn't even follow Liverpool Football Club on Twitter?
That's
His Twitter,
crazy.
yeah, he follows 30 people. Yeah, you can check him out. He follows 30 people, and none of them are associated with Liverpool Football Club. The
Crazy.
United owner or owners, they haven't been to a single United game for over almost 2 years, 3 years actually. Not a single United game. And then you see them celebrating in the NFL when they won the trophy over there, literally on the pitch.
Wow.
Wow, it's crazy.
He actually doesn't.
Crazy.
Huh?
It's
He
crazy.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Henry. Yeah,
It's mad.
yeah. Just
Do you know what's mad as well? This isn't just like a global, like an elite club football thing. This is literally a problem all across the country that, like, talk about fit and proper owner tests. It's like, when Bury Football Club got, so they got liquidated, they have to found a new club, AFC Bury. The former chairman said on local radio that when he bought the team, he didn't even know there was a football club in Bury. And it's like,
that's sad.
See, this is where it's like what Kojo said, is that it's a case of it's bad guys versus bad guys. UEFA, Premier League, the FA, they're not complicit in all this. No matter how much you try to save face, even Sky and BT were trying to charge Premier League fans £15 to watch Burnley versus Sheffield United. Right? I wouldn't even, if I was a Burnley fan, I wouldn't even pay £15 to watch that if I was on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, hey, what Burnley Sheffield United is all great. Like the El Clasico of the North, but you know what I mean? It's a case of there's a lot of saving face in it. It's like basically the gang bosses are essentially being hounded out, but now you need to get rid and thin out sort of the underbosses of the football crime family, essentially.
Yeah, I can confirm right now that it's all over. The Super League done, finished. It's confirmed.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah,
Done.
it's wicked.
A very quick question for you guys. Now that Ed Woodward has resigned, the United owners, the Glazers family, are going to be forced to sell the club now. It looks like it. And they're not. I think we should still be protesting to try and get these guys out of the football club as much as possible.
Yeah,
Kyler
look at that. Look at his face there.
Yeah.
So ugly, man. Look at his hairline as well. Jesus.
Trust me.
Trust me.
It's
Now,
crazy.
this is the question for you guys. As his replacement, would you be happy with this fella over here?
Yeah, I'll bring him in.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not, man? Bring him in.
Yeah, I mean, Man United never have a good PR anyway, no matter how much we try to spin it. And obviously, if we get the Saudi Arabian prince, and there's going to be a lot of talk about the human rights.
Mm-hmm.
That situation.
I was watching a video the other day about how almost like Colonel Gaddafi almost bought Man United because he was buying up shares in before the Glazers signed. And it's like I did sit there and ponder Gaddafi or the Glazers. I was actually debating which one was better. So I was just like, I was like war crimes or Phil Jones in defence, sort of like, give or take. But it's like I said about the proper owners. That you need to, whoever's going to buy Man United now, whoever's going to potentially buy Man United, need to have a thorough, and I mean a deep thorough background check on everything, from how much these people pay their cleaners to how much they're earning, each year and how much profit they're making.
Yeah. I agree with you
I
100%.
agree. Like,
Yeah, man, this Super League, it's done. I'm happy that it's done, but it's not the end of it. This is
of
not,
course.
we haven't seen the last of it. I'm sure they're going to try again. That's why we have to get them out. United are out now of the Super League. It's just been confirmed now. So that's good news. That's
That's
done.
great news. That's great news.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
We can
yeah.
breathe. We can sleep easy, boys. We can
Oh,
sleep
bro,
easy now.
listen. Oh, wow.
You know,
We can sleep
yesterday,
easy.
I was feeling sick to my stomach. I was so hurt by this, man, because I was
Yeah.
thinking like, I'm done with this football. They don't care about us, and I was just thinking like, what is this? This is not football anymore. I honestly thought this was it. This is where they break up. Where they break up, these guys are gonna form their own leagues, and this is where it's gonna end. And then 24 hours later, everything changed.
Yep. Yep.
It's like that Nike advert when they got the clones in to replace normal players, and everyone thought it was like the end of football and stuff like that. It's like that. Do you know what I mean? And then like then football, football unites. They take back football, and everything's happy, and it's all rosy in the garden. So
Yeah.
So I'm saying we can't stop applying pressure now, man. This is just the beginning. UEFA needs to feel that heat as well. And FIFA. We need to get on all their necks, continue the heat, and then let's spread to our clubs.
I've seen this protest because I'm not trying to sort of flex here, but since I'm part of the United Stand writers group and stuff like that, I occasionally get fed little deets here and there, right? But it's stuff I literally look at and just go, right, I'm playing FIFA. I don't really want to look. But there's protests at Old Trafford this Saturday.
Yeah, I did hear that from Stephen
Protest at
Howson.
Old Trafford this Saturday. There's been protests tonight at Stamford Bridge. I think City are protesting as well for their own. It's all just kicked off.
I would
Fair enough.
we have to protest, man, because these guys, they're not going to stop here. They're going to try again. Yeah, there's a point I was going to make, actually. I forgot. Yeah, go on, Trey. I'll remember it.
No, I'm just sort of echoing what Nathan's saying. That I actually came across Stephen Howson's sort of live feed about Ed Woodward being sacked, of course, and he did obviously mention that on Saturday, there will be a protest outside Old Trafford. So, yeah, definitely. I agree with Kojo as well. We have to put the pressure on UEFA, FIFA, because racism is still out there. Players are getting away with stupidness as well, like that band from the Slavia Prague player. You absolutely ridiculous there. 10 games.
10 games.
What?
Yeah.
Well, if I see another one of those saying no to racism videos with the players showing their faces, I'll lose it. I'll lose it. It doesn't do anything.
All talks. Like they don't do anything specific to try and get, like, for example, now this was the perfect opportunity for them to kick this whole football club out of the tournament. Like this was perfect opportunity for them to do it. But in a way, I'm actually happy that they didn't, because you look at the players who scored for Arsenal. Who are they?
All black.
Yeah. No, it was good. I'm not gonna lie. I could say this on live right now. I was an Arsenal supporter for that game. I wanted them to get pummeled.
All of us.
I wanted Prague to get absolutely pummeled. I'm so happy.
But now we're all Villarreal fans for the next round. That's the
Someone.
Of course. Emery.
Yeah. You own that Emery, man. We want him to win that game, man.
Yes, good evening. Good evening.
You guys are gonna see Fonseca, his Roma team, how they play. They're so comfortable on the ball. Just keep an eye on that.
No, and look. At least now we can talk about the Europa League and the Champions League now. Like, if it wasn't, if the Super League was happening, potentially we could have been knocked out of this competition. So I'm just happy that that's done and dusted now. We can focus on the season and look, it's a very, very long season. I know, look, it's long in the sense that every game now is a final, and we have to tackle it now. We need to produce the goods.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Any final points before we leave?
The only thing is that the clubs apparently are going to be issuing a statement very, very, as in the ones that are literally about to leave, because the rest of the English clubs are now out.
Oh, nice.
And they're all going to be releasing statements and whatnot. I hope the statement literally reads, "Sorry, we fucked up." And then that was
it. Just one line.
Yeah.
One line.
Or just be like, "My bad."
You know what they should do? They should say, like, look, we're giving out free season tickets for the next season for a number of fans. Do you know what I mean? Just for this stress that they put us through.
And then you read the terms and conditions underneath, only for those who have the money. Oh, okay, yeah.
They will do that. They will do that, man. Like,
love it.
It's just, is what it is. Just,
yeah.
it is what it is, man. Like, I'm just so happy that it hasn't happened yet. 24 hours, man. A lot can happen. A lot can happen, and a lot can change. The protest on Saturday, I would recommend, anyone who can go there to go there and take part of it, because these guys are criminals. They're criminals. They don't want any football fan to enjoy the games. Let me just make this final point here. You guys have you seen the Perez interview where he said that they would want to make football matches shorter if it is not interesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a
This is
fucking
who
plonker.
did it.
He's a
knobhead.
It would have started. He says like about the world stops when Real Madrid and Barca play. They don't. No one cares about the Manchester derby. And I'm like, no. For the last 10 years, they care about Ronaldo versus Messi. They didn't give a shit about you and your club. Yeah. So let's pipe it down, because ever since Ronaldo left, the La Liga El Clasico numbers have dropped.
Yeah.
So let's not come at as if it's Real Madrid and Barca no more. But this is a product of what's happened. It's not entertainment over results. So everyone cares more about the players more than the clubs. There's no more tribalism. So he needs to get that out of his head, because the world don't stop for that game no more. We don't see pigheads flying for Figo. It don't happen no more. Like,
Yeah.
get with the times, and more importantly, fix your club's own damn problems. We're not here to fix it for you. Do it yourself, because you put yourself there in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about this whole thing, guys? You see how Real Madrid and Barcelona have been left behind financially. That Real Madrid right now, they're so desperate. They've been so desperate to sign people like De Gea, Pogba, right now Kylian Mbappe, Haaland, but they can't afford them.
Yeah.
They can't even afford to sign David Alaba on a free transfer window, like to even finish it off, to get off. It looks like it might not happen right now because there's doubts about it, because they can't afford it. That's how much of a financially challenged these clubs have become. The reason being is because of the TV rights in England, in the Premier League.
Yeah.
All over the world, the entertainment in the Premier League is being sold like mad. The money that's coming into the Premier League. Now, they can't compete with that. So what do they decide to do? They say, guys...
Yeah, that's why I started laughing, because I read it and
They've literally confirmed it just now.
Yeah,
yes,
love it. Sorry,
love it
in that.
love it.
Apparently, they're saying we've listened carefully to the reaction from our fans. The UK government and the other key stakeholders will remain committed to working with others across the football community to come up with sustainable solutions to the long-term challenges facing the game.
But if they'd have listened to the fans, if they'd have asked the fans in the first place, they wouldn't have had to listen to our responses in the first place. Do you know what I mean? That's the whole point of this.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
Football fans in the dark about everything yet again. The players in the dark about everything yet again.
Yeah.
I get with the fans, like at least I can understand that, but the players, they're gonna be playing in these leagues, right? Like if you want them to play, do you just see them as just sheeps here, like where you can just do whatever you want with them? Why not at least, like, you see, this is what Ferguson was so good at, Alex Ferguson, yeah? before we signed Robin van Persie, he spoke with Scholes, Giggs, Rooney, and he said to them, guys, what do you think about this guy? They all said, yeah, let's go sign him. Because he knew that if they're not happy about him coming to the club, that what is the point of spending money for him?
Yep.
So he used to all talk to the players. And now you look at Harry Maguire, the leader of this team, yeah, Bruno Fernandes, David De Gea, Juan Mata. People are being ignored left, right, and center just for them to make a decision. That is just so selfish. That has absolutely zero basis for the good of the club, man. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree, bro. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So that's all, man. That's all in there. Like, we'll just leave it here for now. We're gonna carry on from next week. Nathan, thank you so much for joining again, mate. Appreciate that. Do you want to give a shout out to your podcast?
Yeah, go and follow us on this week's podcast. A bit of a juicy one, obviously. We're literally going to be coming. We can actually look forward to the game now against Leeds. That's nice, you know. We've actually got something to play for. Go to Manchester TV Facebook channel. We're hopefully going to be having some guests on soon because it's basically like a local TV station. It gets shown on Sky Freeview channel 99 during the day, between 6 and 8. So make sure you look forward to that. Follow the United Stand as well. Obviously, you don't need no introduction. Biggest United fan channel out there. You know, I pop in occasionally with a few articles, and then that's about it. That's the only things I've got to really plug. So,
Brilliant. Culture?
Firstly, if you're watching this channel, you haven't subscribed or given it a like, make sure you do that. Excellent show, guys. I love your content. I told you I'll check your show, and the way you told me to check out as well. I've talked to you about that at some point because excellent.
Thank you.
But my one, Free Midfield podcast on YouTube, Free Midfield on Twitter, Spotify, and other audio places. We talk about football pretty much every weekend, leading major issues, and we have interviews as well. We've got a couple lined up with some familiar names that hopefully you guys will love to hear from. And we're just kind of growing time. So come on, check us out. And if you're a football fan, just come through. Dafty videos, just come on and say, I want to come on, and we'll organize it. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining, mate. I appreciate that. And love you. Yeah. Like I said, we're going to talk later because I want to have a sit down with you.
Cool. No worries.
Yes, great.
Yeah, no, look, I just wanted to just take this opportunity. Nathan, once again, thank you for coming in. Cole Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We've got the United family here. So, look, at the end of the day, we're all united. And I'm just happy that we're out of this stupid European Super League. And we can just focus on the rest of the season. And look, at the end of the day, I believe we'll get a trophy at the end of this season. So we can look forward to the summer. So good times are waiting, yeah. So let's be tremendous always, and let's look out for the next podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, and to the viewers. Thank you so much, and make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment down below what your thoughts are. Do you think Jose Mourinho is finished, or does he just need a new challenge? What do you think about the Super League? What do you think about United and Ed Woodward resigning? What do you think? Who do you think should buy United from the Glazers? And most importantly, keep the hashtag Glazers out. Keep it going as much as you can. We need these criminals out of the football club as much as possible. And if you can make it to a protest and it can legally be organized, go for it, organize it, and do it. That's all I can say. So once again, thank you so much for watching. And lads, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take care.
Take care.